There it is.
Led your way off the side there.
Come on in.
Well, yeah, so I think our table got a little bit cockeyed from all of the moving things around this morning, but it's fine. Everything's fine. Hey, guys. Can you hear me today? Yeah? Cool. I love it. Will Liz be here?
Nope.
No. I'm out of here.
She
I did. So yesterday we were trying to fill all of the orders. We finally got all of our stuff split, and I was gone for the afternoon. I had a longtime customer that came down from Wisconsin yesterday, and so we took him to lunch and we walked around a little bit. And so Tony has this sign that he puts on the window when I'm not in the room, so that people don't come in here looking for me, that says Liz is out. And about 4 or 5 people kept walking by, looking at the sign, and then looking in the window and being like, "I don't understand." And I was like, I'm just trying to get work done. So if I just, put the sign up, maybe less people will come into the room so I can fill your guys' orders. So in any case, we are switching up this end of the month a little bit because our good friend Denny is going up to St. Louis tomorrow to teach a class, or maybe Friday, whenever you're going.
The class is Friday.
Hey, today's Wednesday.
I know. We switched it up. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So instead of doing trading cards on Friday, we did it on Wednesday because Denny's going to be out of town.
Oh, by the way, Kevin,
up
you
in
also
St.
have a
Louis.
video on Friday.
Yeah. You're going to talk about rocks. Remember I talked to you about this on Monday? On Friday, we're going to do a round table, and Rusty's going to be gone, but you're going to be here. And so we thought we'd talk about rocks.
Oh.
For everybody that was wondering what we're going to talk about on Friday.
This is Kevin's perplexed look.
This is Kevin. He owns the business, but sometimes he doesn't know what we do here.
There's a lot going on right now at my end of the world.
Yeah, I feel you, sir. I feel you.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, today I think Denny is going to try our eagle.
Yes.
Denny's going to tool an eagle.
Eagle. Martin Stoltz
Yep.
tooled this and sent it in as a trading card for us. So I'm going to try and do one that,
Denny's going to try to replicate it so we can
Yeah.
send him an eagle back.
yes, that faces it.
Oh, kissing eagles.
Yeah.
I
Or
flipped
they
it
could be,
around for
or
him.
they could be mad at each other, eagles.
Back to back eagles.
Back to back, they faced each other.
It'll be like that picture that Tony and I took, and then we called ourselves the Leather Mafia. It's hanging on my wall over there. Denny, are you going to be up at the STLJCVA hospital doing a class?
The answer to that question would be, I don't believe so.
He's doing a class with the Leather Guild that's up
Yeah,
in St.
there's
Louis.
2 leather guilds in St. Louis. There is the Gateway Leather Guild and the Boots and Saddles Leather Guild. And they get together.
Boots and saddles.
Boots and Saddles. Yep.
I like boots and saddles.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't really have any opinion on saddles because I've never ridden in one, but I like a good pair of boots.
I forgot a ballpoint pen. Does anyone have one I could borrow?
We did have a couple over here. Oh, I got
You
3
see
of them
that road
coming
there?
in.
Hold on, don't move. Put that back down where it landed. I threw it from my desk, and it
That was
landed
a good
right there.
That was good. I'm going to
Pretty
use
good.
it. I'm going to use it. And it's got a handy little
No,
deal that I just tore up.
that was a special
You
pen.
keep it in here. You don't take it. Okay, that's the way I'll use it. Then.
Yeah.
That's the way I'll use it.
All right.
Yeah, Michael, I know. He will be in St. Louis, but he's not going to be at the VA hospital doing a class.
I would do that if I knew.
We got a hammer.
Yeah,
How about a mallet? Well, that's perfect.
absolutely, my good sir. There you
You
go.
got tooling tools, Denny?
Some.
Oh, good.
I didn't bring very many.
Well, I'll make do. Maybe. Well, you didn't bring very
No,
many.
I didn't because I'm.
Because he's doing an eagle.
Gosh.
He just needs to cut, bevel, and decorative cut and background.
And a few things.
I was counting on you.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Oh,
That
look.
just goes
Oh,
to
and
show
it has football.
how dependable I really
Here you go.
am.
Oh, look at that.
There's some things, whatever they are. I don't know what they are.
Put
Oh, those are stamping tools.
Yeah, thanks. Can I contact you
Nothing
directly?
gets by Liz or Tony.
Yeah. I took Denny's class this weekend. I brought my coasters.
You did wonderfully too.
It was
I have to admit.
It was a fun class. It was a long day. I asked Denny, I was like, how do you tool for 8 hours a day? This is a lot. And Denny said, well, I've been doing it for a lot of years, so it's just what I do.
I get tired sometimes too, though.
That's mostly just because you're getting up there in age.
Oh no, that doesn't have anything to do with it.
Wow, Tony's so mean.
Well, you what, turned 55 this year?
Yeah, well, not yet.
Denny will never turn 55.
Once.
You're on the second time around,
Yeah.
that's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna try something a little on the odd side, maybe sort of, kind of, a little.
It's a really cool mallet.
I wish I had a different beveler.
Got to.
No, you've got
I've got the
adequate
steep
ones.
beveler.
You've got steep bevelers, and that's good. Steep bevelers are nice for what I'm going to attempt. It would be better if I had a longer, wider, flat one. But
Oh, guys,
we live for challenges, right?
let's talk about moisture content and how you get the right moisture content in your leather.
Well, first of all, more than likely, don't dip it in the sink.
Yep.
Don't run it under the faucet, and don't wet the backside unless you know what you're doing.
So your recommendation is if
that's-
you're starting out tooling, you spray it.
Well,
Or you use a sponge.
spray it or use a sponge. That'll be just fine.
And less is better than more.
Yeah.
You can always add water. It's hard to get rid of water.
Yeah.
To get rid of it, it just takes time.
Yes, time.
And if you're impatient or you really need to work on your stuff, sometimes you don't have that time and then you end up with a spongy mess.
But you do need to have enough water. There is no doubt about that, and that's a really good topic, whoever brought it up. You know, it just takes practice. I don't know how else to say it. Take two pieces of leather and squirt one with a bunch of water, and it's preferably, and this is going to sound kind of salesy promotionally, but it's better if you do it on something like Herman Oak leather, because it's consistent all the time. It's the same all the time. And if you spray one piece of leather, little piece of Herman Oak, and then you spray another one with half that amount of water, then after about 20 minutes, you're going to be a lot better educated, because you'll know.
Well, and with spraying, you can analyze how much water you're putting on it. You can do 10 sprays and then you can do 20 sprays. You know, like you can math your spray.
And you should have enough on there to where it almost looks too wet. And you should be willing to let that leather sit and kind of absorb the water and well, just sit for a few minutes until it starts coming back. And then if you want, put the same simple, just put a couple of some simple swivel cuts on there, on both of them, and bevel each of them as consistently as you can, same amount of time, and just go back and forth, bevel on each piece of leather, and then you're going to see something amazing. Well, you're going to get some amazing knowledge really fast. You're going to say, whoa, I did not need that much water. Or you're going to say, wow, that dried out really fast. I should have put more water on it. The reason I told you to use Herman Oak leather, again, is the consistency. But if you use imported leather, there's nothing wrong with using imported leather, don't get me wrong. But if you use imported leather, I guarantee you it will dry out faster.
Yeah.
You figured that out, I'll bet. Somewhere along
Yeah,
the line.
but it also will take, I feel like, almost twice as long for the leather to absorb the water. I feel like you can tell a good piece of tooling leather. Like there's veg tans that are great for some things, and then there are veg tans that are great for tooling.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And veg tan that's great for tooling absorbs the water quite readily.
Yeah.
Sometimes you will have, and you'll see it a lot with like heavily plated import leathers where the surface has been plated by a glass slicker so much that it's closed up the pores to the point where you spray it with water and the water just sits on top for like a decent amount of seconds before you finally start to see that it starts to absorb it. I would say that that's not great leather for tooling.
When I was teaching leather craft in schools of various sorts, everywhere from college to kindergarten, I always emphasized, you know, if you're going to tool leather with a swivel knife, then one of the most important things is the swivel knife itself. It's got to be sharp. It just has to be, and that's the only way.
The swivel knife isn't important. The sharpness of the blade is important. The slickness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is the moisture content, because you can do leather work with a crappy swivel knife.
Yep.
But it's pretty darned hard to do leather work that doesn't have the right amount of water in it.
Well,
and you might have to add water.
Right.
But if you do, you just want to remember that there's already some water in it. There just isn't enough. And so when you add it, you want to be very, very judicious.
Well, and like Denny was talking about this weekend when we took our class, we had two people that had never carved before. They had done some basket weave stamping, but they had never carved with us. And so, you know, they also had that question. And especially when you're working with something of this kind of size, you know, this is a small piece of leather. We're not, you know, tooling coasters. You know, if you were tooling a belt, you might have to function slightly differently because you've got so much length and you've got so much that you're working with. But for something, you know, a coaster or a trading card or even I feel like this is less, you know, than a belt. You've kind of got this finite amount of area here. Any case, Denny, why don't you just talk about, because you have very like kind of this regulated procedure of when you apply moisture to your leather.
Yeah, I always try to kind of follow a routine. And on a small project like these coasters, you know, I feel like if I wet it fairly well, you know, let it turn a pretty dark color when I put the water on. And then I have time to, number one, trace the pattern. After the pattern is traced, I have time to cut it. And by the time I've traced and cut it, it's dried back out enough, hopefully, to where it's about right to bevel.
Right.
I like to bevel when the leather is fairly dry, not dry, but fairly dry. And after I bevel, then it's dry enough where I can put on my background, which I like the leather almost completely dry because I get a more crisp impression with a background tool when the leather is pretty dry. But then I'll wet it back up for all my big tools like pear shaders and like that, because you move a lot of leather with those big tools and the leather needs to be softer.
Yep.
Yeah,
You
so
are exactly correct.
There's a method, and sometimes having drier leather is better for different parts of the tooling process. So just practicing, like
That sounds, you know, cliche, but that's what it's all about. Practice, it really is.
And also test different leathers.
I tell everybody every project I do is practice for the next project. So, you know, you learn, if you don't learn something every time you tool a piece of leather, you aren't trying very hard. You know? You aren't trying to make your stuff better. And that's the point. You should always, everything you do, you should try and make better than the last thing you did.
Yeah.
And that's how you figure out your moisture content. You say, well, that last one was kind of mushy. I had it a little bit too wet, you know, because you can see it turns out grainy and mushy looking.
Everything works better when the water is right. It's just plain old the way it is. So I don't.
Have you guys ever practiced swivel knife cutting on Play-Doh?
I'm going to do a weird. No, I can't do a weird thing.
Oh, you can do a lot of weird things.
You know, I need to do this right if it's going to look.
I mean, I will say if that is something
I didn't bring.
You know, when you buy a piece of leather, unless you're literally buying pre-cuts of leather, when you buy leather and you cut out your projects, you always have little pieces of scraps. You know, you always have flanky bits that you don't want to use of the neck or the shoulder. Just as you cut your parts out, you have parts in between, you know, where you couldn't nest them as tightly. And so use those little scrap pieces.
Right before we came, about 5 minutes before this started, I grabbed a modeling tool, I ground it down, and I sort of polished it. I don't know how well I did. I really don't. Haven't tried it at all.
You're going to find out.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, do you want to do that? Okay. I don't know where you're at. That's fine.
I'm gonna,
What are you doing?
well, I'm gonna lift up this, but I'm gonna have to get some of the gunk off it first.
Do you want to use Denny's beautiful pedal lifters?
Yes, I do.
Look, they're the wooden handled things right there. I use them this weekend. There's less fat ones depending on the size that you want. These are Ed LeBar pedal lifters, guys. Hey, Denny, how much did you pay for that set? Do you remember?
I think they were like $140 if I remember right.
For the whole set?
For the set of 4.
Oh, that's not bad.
They could have been more, but
Yeah.
I'm cheap, so I don't think I paid more than that.
And maybe Ed gave Denny a good deal. So maybe, but there's 4 different sizes.
And they are deluxe.
I got to use them this weekend because Denny likes me. And they really make your flowers pop. What is more important? A good swivel knife or good quality bevelers? Or what if you're going to make an investment in a tool?
The beveler.
Yeah.
Because you can polish up a swivel knife?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can take a
yeah.
crappy old swivel knife and put a good blade in it, and you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even a cheap blade, if it's sharp, it will work well.
That's the deal.
Yeah. All right, bevelers. Bevelers it is, guys. Dawn also agrees with that, hands down, bevelers. In 3 sizes.
You guys, if you do this very much, 3 sizes won't do it.
How many sizes of bevelers do you have?
Yeah, how many do they make? It's like I tell everyone, I've got like over 300 tools probably on my bench, and I want more.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can never have too many.
You've always got a need for some stupid little thing.
Yeah. But that's one of the fun parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, buying tools is fun.
Yeah.
It's always exciting. It's exciting to go to the show and you get to dig through Barry King's never-ending array of shiny silver sticks. His booth is so bright. He's got those LEDs, and it's just like, it's like the length of this room, and it's just a table with like leather, you know, kind of like this. He's got them all in these leather pouches, and it's just stacks of tools all the way down, and it's just LED lights on these stacks of bright, shiny silver stamping tools. Really, it'll give you a headache looking at it. There's so
Really?
dazzly. It's like looking at diamonds. Ooh, Kevin's lifting up the whole thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wanted to do that with these ones, but I didn't have it at home, so I couldn't do it.
Well, I don't know how much lifting we're going to do. We're going to do a little bit on each one, and then we're going to review. I tried to. It depends on what you're wanting to lift up as the best tool to use. This one's pretty good. This one's sharper than the other one that I tried to use there, Jenny.
Is it?
Yeah. But if you notice, I don't know if it matters to anybody, when you do this, I like to work off of my other thumb because it gives you a base.
Fulcrum.
Yeah,
That's exactly
to work
what you
from.
showed me to do.
It just gives you better control.
I've seen people say tooled card sets. Any idea how to make those? Tooled card sets.
Yeah, with
Like-
patience, because there's a lot of cards.
Yeah, like playing cards, Crystal. I mean, it would be hard to play with them because I don't like your stack is gonna be like a foot long. You know, you can only you really don't want to like intensely tool leather that's like, I feel like maybe a 3 to 4 ounce, but really 4 to 5. That's going to be a thick set. I mean, it would be really cool framed. That would be a lot of fun if you did a cool framed one. Kevin needs to do a lifted feather. Back when Jim Leno was here, he did feathers. Is that something that they can watch, or was that a class?
They could have watched it, except for the file got corrupted.
Yeah.
So we moved databases, and whenever we moved all the storage, it corrupted file.
It was a sad day. Justin had been working on it for a while.
There is some on there.
So we got corrupted?
We got corrupted.
Oh, boy. We're
Our
corrupted.
data was corrupted. Crystal, I bet if you just Google like playing card PDFs or like playing card vector images, I bet there's some sets out there that will just give you all the outlines for all the different things. And then you just take and you just tool them. Look at you go, Kevin. A little bit at a time.
That's what it takes.
A little bit at a time. I feel like we inspired Kevin a little bit this weekend doing our tooling.
Yeah, Kevin came by while we were having our class. And we said, Kevin, do a bird for us. So he finger carved a bird while we were all standing there watching him. Took
Yeah.
him about 5 minutes. And it was gorgeous.
Gotta get out my old pattern because that was so good. I just can't find it. But I will. Might be in my attic at home.
Oh, you have leather stuff in your attic?
Well, I think I have a box of old books and patterns, old stuff. And also, there was a guy, I don't know, you guys maybe haven't ever heard of him. You might have, Denny. His name was Ken Gregson.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Gregson was president of Tandy Leather for quite a number of years. He headed up the Radio Shack effort in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy could carve leather. And one time I had an occasion to spend quite a bit of time with him. And he said, come on, Kevin, I'll show you how to use a swivel knife. I wasn't a really good carver, but I did okay, at the time. And he took and he carved that bird. And I mean, that bird was a lot better than the bird that I carved, I can tell you. Man, he could just make that thing talk. He started out as a mailroom clerk in the Tandy Leather store in St. Louis and worked his way up. And he was, for whatever reason, he really liked Becky and I.
Well, you
Which
guys
was
are pretty
probably because of
adorable.
Becky, because
Yeah.
she's pretty likable. And we won enough contests where we'd get down to Fort Worth pretty regular, and he always made time for us, and that was really nice. I learned a lot from him.
That's really cool. I got on a weird spiral the other night. I came across an old Tandy labeled computer.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it was just on a show that I was watching, and I was like, I had never heard of that. And so I started doing some Googling, and I went down the rabbit hole of the Tandy and Radio Shack computer escapade.
That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, there's a whole Wikipedia page that you can read up on how the Tandy and the
Woolworths in Australia, I think, is what they on.
Yeah.
The Woolworths that Tandy is on.
But I didn't know there was a computer named Tandy, which I thought was a weird juxtaposition of the leather and the electronic world.
I have no idea.
And for whatever reason, I guess what the article said was that they really think that Tandy and Radio Shack could have been a really big competitor for like IBM
Yeah.
or whatever. However, they were really a stickler about only selling their own products and not wanting to sell other like off-brand products in their stores, which really narrowed the base.
Yeah, Tandy did a lot of stupid things. And I can say that now because all those people are pretty much dead. At all. But they did a lot of really dumb things. They owned the leather world for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know why? There was one reason that there was very few choices for the leather crafter to take advantage of. It was all because of a magazine.
Make it with leather.
Yeah, and before that, it was called a leather crafter or something of that nature. And it was an okay book, but all the advertising in it was for Tandy products. And that book, that magazine never made a dime,
Right.
but it was subscribed to by leather crafters all over the place. And because of that magazine, you know, they didn't have computers.
Right.
So you couldn't go hunt
You had to
for
call.
Springfield Leather or Weaver or somebody like that. Yeah.
Leather Crafters Journal, was that it?
That's the one we
That's
have
been
now.
one of them.
No, that's Leather Crafter and Saddler's Journal now.
I think, well,
I remember when I was in junior high, my cousin, who knew I was interested in leather, because I would whack a bunch of belts together and stuff. But for Christmas, she got me a subscription to the Leather Crafters, Make It With Leather.
yeah, yeah.
She got me that person.
Well, so one of the things that I was reading about is like the Tandy Leather stores required their employees, and I think maybe even the Radio Shack places, that no matter what size of a purchase they were ringing up, they required their employees to get the contact information for the person checking out, so that they could sign them up for that. And like that was a thing that people didn't really love about it, because like you're gonna go in somewhere and spend $3 and they want
Right.
you to sign, you know.
Yeah, gotta
Give
have
them all-
a name and address, gotta have the,
Yeah.
you know, I went through all that, but what happened was one day, somebody in corporate decided that, look, this magazine is not making money, period. It loses money, it costs us money, we're gonna sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, boy, from a corporate standpoint, from a profit standpoint, that blew it.
Yeah.
That just blew it, because it opened the doors for all the leather crafters out here to have other sources.
Mm-hmm.
And the leather factory became popular at the time. Weaver became known. All kinds of other little companies became known.
Yeah.
And phew,
Well, Kevin, that's just really cool what you got going on there.
it was the beginning of the end.
That is, that little pedal's about to fly.
Yeah, and you can, you know, this isn't really wonderful. I guess you could be more careful and probably do a better job. But it does stick up, and I'm kind of curious as to how far under them leaves I can go. Now, when you do this, at some point in time, you probably are gonna need to get under there with a pretty skinny brush and some dye, and dye that so that you don't have
The white.
the appearance here. But it's okay. You can do that. But it's kind of a neat thing. I'll guarantee you, these won't lay down anytime too quick.
Do you think if you got them more wet and kind of molded them up, they would stay better?
No, right now my leather is correct.
Okay.
It's got the right water in it.
What do you think about beveling underneath the pedal that you got there? Smooth it out a little bit.
Basically, you're better off if you're going to have it smooth. All you can do is slide your pro pedal or whatever you've got to do that. You can do it with a modeling tool.
Like varnish it a little bit.
Yeah, but really, you're not going to get any better than what this is. Probably, it's just going to be that way.
If you use antique and get that antique under there, it'll kind of fill in.
Yep.
Kind of like caulking. You know? Well, really,
Yeah.
it will.
Like the
It's-
painter fixing all the things. We
That's
talked about
right.
that on Saturday.
That's right.
And you can really do quite a bit with a modeling tool that's been sharpened like this one has. This one came out okay for me only taking a couple of minutes. It lets you come in from the side easier a little bit. And you can, when the leather's got the right amount of water in it, you can go back and smooth over your rough spots that you're going to have or accumulate, and you will have them. It's just part of the deal that you get when you do this.
What would you put on that for a finish, Kevin?
I would spray it with Master's Quick Shine, but in all reality, there's two ways you can go about this. You can dye it
Mm-hmm.
before you
Right.
do this. Then you can go back and do that. I just wanted to lift something up rather extremely so that people could see that it could be done. And it can be.
You've accomplished that feat.
Yeah.
Next time we'll have you do a fish.
And also, I would much rather have done this with a number 702 beveler or a 701. They're the same as the steep bevelers. They're just not steep. And
Mhm.
it gives you more of a, what do you want to call it? Gives you
shadow?
less of a ridge to work from.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're able to get under there. And I like to also mat it down around the edge. I didn't bring a matting tool. So you can,
I
you know,
brought that. That's
that-
about
well-
as good as I've got right
it
now.
would work probably. I don't know if I want to start whacking on that with this though.
Well, it's 11:30, so if you start whacking on a different one, you could probably have 2 done.
I ain't gonna do two.
Kevin.
Greetings from El Salvador.
Oh, it's a long way off from here. I think. I don't know. I've never been there. Could just be a few miles, right?
Maybe this will do it. The problem is with a matting tool like this, it's effectively putting a print into the leather.
Mhm.
And when the leather's wet and you start working on that with an elongated flat surface, you're going to push some of that matted area, that heavily embossed matted area down.
Mhm.
It would be better if you had a matting tool that wasn't so robust. I don't know what's the right word.
Yeah.
What would be your preferred tool?
Maybe what's that number, Denny? Is it PA 005 or
The pebbles?
no, the bubbles?
Yeah, the bubbles. These
Okay.
ones? This one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not
except
sure
the
what
big
that
version of it.
Yeah. No, I think it's the 2, 3, and 5 or something
Yes,
like that.
that's what.
Yeah, there's 3.
Well, there's a 4 there too.
Okay.
I'm running right on the edge of. For too long, I'd have to do something about the moisture content here, but right now it's still okay.
What number is a coarse matte background tool?
A coarse one? Oh, by the way, before I answer that, an an 898, 99, and 900. Those would be the ones I really like because they're nothing more than a flat checkered surface, basically. A little bit of domed, but not much. And that you won't screw that background up so much. And when you do, you can go over it again. And make it okay. Now, what was you asking me?
What number is a coarse matte background tool?
Probably like an 880 maybe, or well, an 888 is coarse. And also the one that you used, that 004, whatever, that's very coarse, or at least it can be. But 888 is it's a small tool.
Yeah, the 888, and then you have the A118, which is
that
of course,
That one is very coarse.
and the 114.
It's really hard to
But they're
use
big.
those, by the way.
I think that's what Denny had us use in the class. So that's what we did for
Which
these.
one?
The 888.
8888.
Yeah. So these were 2 of my coasters that I did this weekend, and they had the A888 coarse background tool used.
Do you have the bubble tool?
I do. I don't have the bubble tool, but this is the bubble background. It's a PA. I'll find it. Hold on. There's like 3 or 4 of them. Denny times 2.
Right.
Yeah, so PA 003, 4, and 5 is the bubble.
So
And that's a good one. I like that one. I see it quite a bit.
when you do your leaves or whatever you're raising up like this, you can take that matting tool and you can actually get it underneath and you can smack that rough up area, and it makes it a little better. It doesn't fix it, but it makes it better. You're still really, it's designed to be looked at like that.
Yeah, but
So,
can you put it right here and then show it to that camera?
Does that do it? Oh, there we
That
go.
does it.
Yeah, it's designed to be looked at like that. This would be a picture on a wall.
Yeah, it's not something you
Not
put
for
in
a
your
belt.
pocket.
No.
Yeah.
So, and it's pretty cool when you see some kind of maybe a horse carved in there with some bordered flowers and the petals are all lifted up, sticking
Mhm.
up there. It's really pretty cool.
Yeah, 3D leatherwork is pretty amazing to look at.
Yeah. So, well, that's kind of like the fish that I did. It's around here somewhere.
It's behind you.
Yeah, it's had that gill lifted up and whatever else.
His little tail.
Yeah.
Oh, a gill and his little bottom fin, it looks like.
So anyway, that was my
You have like 24 minutes, Kevin. You can do something.
inspiration for the day.
I love it.
Can I
I'm
have some
inspired.
water?
I'm
It's right in front of you.
Oh. So if anybody noticed, I just sprayed that pretty heavy with 6 sprays. It's a piece of 6-7 ounce leather. Or a few.
I just constantly
Oh.
just.
I was just reminiscing.
You had your chance. You had a mallet, and a tool, and everything right there. So another thing about the moisture content is it really depends on how much time you have to work on your leather. You know, if, just like Denny said earlier, if you've got a long time, if you've got a couple hours to work on something, wet that rascal down really good.
Yeah.
And you might even wet it on the backside. If I
These
was
are
going to
your
work on
bubbles
this for a
right
couple hours, I might spray it on the backside.
Yeah. Because if the outside is a bit dry and the core of the leather still has a lot of moisture in it, you can still do good business. In fact, that's ideal.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
ideal.
PA 003, 4, and 5. Hey, Kevin, we
Oh.
have a request for a feather.
I don't have any.
You want to put one on the leather? I have a sample for you right here. You can look at.
I don't have the tools for a feather.
Don't,
But I will, well, actually,
I can go get you a hair blade.
you know, oh no.
I've got
This would probably,
Oh, Denny has a hair blade.
I ain't gonna do a feather right now.
Sorry, Crystal.
But I will do a feather another time.
Okay, we'll put it on the list.
I wanted to, I was gonna take a couple of tools that very few people ever use or know what they are.
Okay.
And that's this one. This is a 927.
Can you stick it like in that camera, kind of on top of your leather right there? Right there. Nope. Nope. There it is.
Oh, here, let me hit it.
Okay, perfect. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it
Little
makes
jaggedy teeth.
it makes a funny little mark. You know, people don't ever use this tool or
Uh-huh.
anything, but it's kind of cool. I mean, you can do everything from, well, it's a figure carving tool, but you can also use it as a border. So, I don't know, you might not like it.
You may not like it. You can do it.
That's kind of neat. I'd never thought of that.
Well, it is kind of neat.
There's a lot of things I don't think of though.
Well, shoot,
You are correct, Heath. Tony's running the chat.
there's a lot of things I don't
Sorry.
think of either.
Oh,
So anyway, I think that's kind of,
I like it.
let's see.
I'm gonna use that somewhere.
Have it just right. Yep. Yep. And then Kevin, that camera right there.
Just look at the.
There you go.
That's kind of cool.
I like it.
So when you add other tools in, things get even more fun, I guess. And we just don't have a lot of tools here today.
No,
so
I didn't bring very many.
we'll just use, we'll use this. And who knows what we're going to come up with, because I sure don't.
Odin, Kevin did an inverted rose a couple months ago. We're still working on coloring it. I've got it back here, but if you look up inverted, I think it's just inverted rose, you should be able to come across it. We did that.
Where my tools go? Oh gosh, I can't find nothing.
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
a messy little child
So
over there.
here we are. I don't know. Can they see this? What I'm doing?
No, can you put it
Where do I
back in
gotta
front of
be?
you? Right there.
Okay. I have a hard time working backwards. There.
Well, if you just look,
No, I gotta work backwards.
okay,
You know what?
you could turn it the other way.
Now I'm gonna turn it this way. And it's pretty obvious this tool won't fit right in the middle. So what I'm gonna do is twist it. And smack it like that. And if you run that down an edge, it'd be okay. I mean, it's not going to be the world's greatest, most wonderful border, but it'll be okay. Let's see, to do that again, I'm going to have to think about how that one looked. Oh, we're not going for perfection here. We're just going for different and different ideas.
Kevin is a little different.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you can get a little bit of an idea on what it would look like. Let's see. So they see it.
Look at that, you figured it
All
out.
the way down a belt, that would work.
That's nice.
And you make it, you add to it. See that? Let's see, I've got to turn it around. There.
Oh, very nice.
Just little things do a lot. And if you want, oh, that's coming out really good, Denny.
I don't know if it looks like his does or not. I
You
have
did the
trouble.
Denny version.
I have trouble copying stuff.
I think it looks pretty darn good.
Yeah, I do too. Let's see, what can I do here?
Looks like you're ready to eat a fish or something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's your feathers. Just on an eagle.
Eagle feathers, yes.
So
Good job, Denny.
we just keep going.
Yep. You just move it forward just a little bit back in that box. I can see it.
That's kind of fun.
If you have your reseller's license and things like that and some other forms, then there is the business discounts. That's what's happening with chat.
Yeah.
Talking about discounts.
I like it.
You know, it doesn't end. You can just go and go and go with stupid little things, and they
Well, you have
change.
15 minutes to go and go unless we're just
I
going to
do?
call it. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're going to watch Kevin go and go and go.
Well, I
Like-
should do something with that.
Thomas the Train.
If I
His
was
first name was
gonna
Van,
do
you could
with-
be Van Gogh.
let's see,
I did
So,
finish that Lego set.
limited
Did you?
tools, right?
Unlimited tools? Oh, limited.
Limited.
Very limited.
We're getting limited tools.
That's what my.
I do like the geometric patterns that you see. There's a couple, well, at least one girl that I'm familiar with on Instagram, and she does a lot of like pictorial carving using the geometric or just using stamps.
There.
And so she'll do, you know, like a horse or a zebra or whatever, and she fills in instead of doing all the carving and tooling and all of this. She just fills it in with stamps and does just lines and lines of different geometric stamps, and I think it's incredible.
But she'll carve the outside of the animal
Yep,
or whatever.
She does the outline.
Fill it in with.
There
Yep.
are so many
Cool.
things you can really do with the geometric stamps.
We didn't hang our trading cards up today.
No, I thought about it, but it was 11, and I said I'm not getting back up.
You can
Sitting.
you can really use geometric tools to good advantage and to make money if you want. The only thing you really have to be concerned with when you're using these geometric tools and you want to do something that's nifty and different and cool and will impress somebody enough to where they'll give you money for it, is do the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what it comes down to. And let's see, how about
Why'd you leave that one side just good old naked over there?
well, I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
I'm just
That's a good answer.
and
Fair enough.
you know, you learn more from this than you do from a lot of things.
Mhm.
Because you learn what you don't want to do again.
Yeah.
And then you learn what, oh, that's kind of cool. And you could do something like that. Those little push cuts, they're applicable in a lot of different things. Just a lot of
Hey, can we get him on the other video so we can see the front of his cut since
Yes.
Denny's done? Oh, there it is.
so anyway.
Look at those.
Yeah, they're weird, but that's okay. And you know, if you can imagine that going down the other side of a belt, then you could run something down the middle if you wanted to, or you could take another smaller veiner and run it right over the top of that little mule's foot or something of that nature, and that would work. There's just all kinds of things. So many things.
An
Things.
endless amount of things.
Yeah,
Even with a limited amount of tools.
that's right.
Yes.
Some of them old guys made their tools out of nails, you know, and they did pretty darn good.
Denny, I feel like, did that a time or two.
I think
He
we've
said
all
old
done
guys.
that.
Say at this point, Denny just takes the tools that are already made and then he just takes them to the grinder and he says, well, I'll buy 3 of these tools and then I'll modify 2 of them and then I'll have 3 different tools.
Yep, it works. I don't know what you can do with this. What is that?
That
What's the right name for
is
that
a
bark rounder?
leaf liner.
A who?
Leaf liner.
A leaf liner. I'll just line this leaf. Oh, water
Water
is
getting dry.
not what it could be here now. Let's see what else is out here. Well, you could go over that again with that. Do something pretty neat. But I've got this little mule's foot, and I like little mule's feet.
Little mules are nice.
Yeah.
I saw a video the other day on tiny little not horses, but cows. Like they've been breeding down those shaggy cows. The Highlands?
Scotch Highlands.
Yeah, and they're making little miniature like pet cows. And they're
House cows.
house cows. I don't think I'd want to see the house pies that those house cows might leave. Or the fact that Luna would definitely find that probably a good place to roll
Yeah,
in as
that
well.
would
That
quite
would be
attractive.
unacceptable. Anyway. It's a happy little
That's a
rectangle.
little, looks like a little plant coming out of
That's
there.
what I thought.
You just can't. You drew the box and you just can't live in the box.
I'm not very good at that.
Alrighty, folks. Well, I think Kevin's done doodling. Kevin, did you sign this? Will you put your initials on here, please? Make them as secretive as you can.
There ain't no way to hide it on this.
Under a pedal.
But don't put them under a pedal.
Okay.
Just put them in the corner like Denny does. Look, Denny Lowe, Kevin Hopkins. Put it in the corner.
Go.
Can you imagine the size of a house cow litter box? Yeah, that would be large.
It'd be a litter dump truck. A litter pickup.
You need a whole room for your house cow litter box. They are super cute, though.
Need to teach them to ring the bell when they need to go outside.
My dog does that.
Does she?
Yeah, he knows to rattle the bell. It works.
Alrighty, guys, that is our trading cards. No live shopping tomorrow because we're not done filling live shopping orders from last week. We are getting really close, though. There are a handful of you that still need to. If you forgot to do it, we'll probably be reaching out here this afternoon to see if you would still like. I think there was maybe 5 or 6 people that didn't process their order, so we'll be getting with you guys. Michael, I'm going to get yours pulled and waiting so that we have all the inventory ready to go.
It'll be a leather and waiting.
Leather and waiting. It's going to be great. But anyways, we will see you guys on Friday for our roundtable. We're going to show you some really cool opals that Kevin's been making, and we're going to talk about some rocks. So bring your rock questions, or just, whatever questions you have, but we're going to be talking rocks.
I did make some cool opals.
Kevin made cool opals.
Well,
I mean, they were already cool, but Kevin found the
I-
cool in the opal.
I just enhanced them.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta grind down for the cool, and then he's just off. He's just getting up. He's just walking away. He's like, we're done here. All right, you guys, have a great afternoon.
Bye.
We'll see you later.
Thank you.